Brett asks for Tiffany, do you have any decent high school drug trafficking stories?
Oh, well, I don't know if I have like a specific story. It's just that when I was in high school, I started getting into raves. I'd gone to like a little warehouse rave when I don't remember. Yeah, except I never did any of that weird fucking like light show stuff. I just liked the party. And someone gave me ecstasy at a rave when I was maybe 14 years old. I would say. I didn't know what it did. I didn't know what like I didn't know anything about ecstasy or drugs. But someone just handed me a pill at a rave and they were all taking it, peer pressure. Obviously looking back, this is not something I recommend. And if you're a child and your brain is still developing, you probably should not be doing drugs because I think it like scarred me mentally because I did a lot of drugs in high school. But I didn't understand how it worked. I've always been sort of a depressed type person. And I remember when I took ecstasy, that was the first time I had felt real happiness. Like I felt so incredibly happy. And obviously as a kid, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand what a come down was, like the fact that it sort of like depleted me of my serotonin, I think. I still don't understand all the chemistry that goes behind it, but I was incredibly depressed afterwards. But to me, the solution was, oh, I guess I have to do that drug again. So
Hmm.
I was never like addicted to it. And I've never been addicted to anything but nicotine, but I just did it every few weekends when I was maybe 14, 15. Anyway, then EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival, moved from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, where I lived. And then there was a lot of demand for ecstasy.
Mm.
And I, at the time, was like, oh, I'm the only person in my school with an ecstasy plug because I was hanging out with these shady characters at raves. So, yeah, I ingratiated myself with the drug dealer, and then I became romantically interested in the drug. This is a little too weird a story for me to tell.
No, this is what
It
this
was
is
a,
what this
well,
is what the people want.
it's quite a dark story. The guy who I became romantically interested in was obviously much older than me. I was very young at the time. I was definitely underage. He was not underage. Later, he ended up killing himself. So that took a dark turn. I don't think that was what they're looking for, but that's what happened. It was a very dark time. Dark
That's a
time.
very dark time.
It was very dark. I think I'm still probably not. I probably still haven't processed it. And I also think that doing ecstasy at that young an age before your brain has developed is somewhat harmful because I don't think that I developed the correct circuitry to deal with depression. And yeah, so I am
Mm.
still quite a depressed person, as Aaron Bennett knows, because Aaron I literally talk to on the phone every single day. I've called Aaron probably several times feeling suicidal and whatever, but life goes on.
It sure
We still
does.
here, baby.
Still here.
It's hard for me to talk about like serious emotional things without trying to make it into a joke. So, and people notice that in my videos because they get mad at me for laughing at things, but that's just how I deal with things. Um, love you.
I love you too.
Did I really sell ecstasy in high school? Yes. We already went over this story earlier in the video, so when we end it, you can watch that if you care that much. But yes, I did. It was quite profitable. I did make a lot of money during that time.
Like, what were your margins? What were you buying it for? How much were you selling it for? Give
I
us
don't
a
know if I
little.
want to say because I feel like I really sold them really high.
It's okay. I'm sure most people that sold drugs were. You think you were better than most.
I don't know. I mean, I was getting them for like only like because I buy a lot of them at once, so I would get
Right.
them for like. It's probably not good to talk about this. Actually, is this like? Can I get in trouble?
Didn't you
I
say
don't know.
this were like past
Statute of limitations.
statutes? Yeah. No, you're not going to get in trouble.
I think I like more than doubled the price.
Oh, that doesn't seem. I thought you were going to be like, oh yeah, I 10x these losers. Like
Sometimes,
yeah.
depending on if I like the person or not. There were some little fuckers that I just didn't like at my high school, and I was like, yeah, more for you.
Were you like the only or one of the only sellers at your high school?
Yes, because I
Mm.
went to a very small school and it was just like a small little bubble of a school, quite sheltered. And I was like the only one who was going out to these out of school parties with these older kids who were in college and stuff like that. So I was the only one, and I was like 14 at the time, and I was like hanging out with these like people that were in their 20s. Yeah, so I was the only plug. And
Mm.
if I didn't like someone and they wanted to buy ecstasy for like Electric Daisy Carnival, which moved to Las Vegas, I was like, well, it's gonna be this much for you. And sometimes they'd be like, isn't that a little high? And I was like, you can buy it somewhere else, but that's how
Wow.
much it is. So it definitely varied. Like my friends, I wouldn't mark it up at all.
Yeah.
But just people I didn't like, I would charge them more.
How close to the manufacturing process do you think you were? Meaning, the person you were buying it from, were they making it or were they
No,
like?
I don't think they were, and obviously that whole period of my life was incredibly irresponsible because I didn't know what was in these drugs. I mean, there was a website, I think it was called pillreport.com or something like that, where you could look up each drug. So if it was like it's a triple stack Maserati, you can look that up and check what's supposed to be in it. So that's what I would do. But I wasn't even like testing it. I mean, it was so irresponsible. I was like literally like 15. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was doing the drugs myself. I was not trying to hurt anybody. I was doing the drugs. And by the way, I don't do drugs anymore. This was like a phase in my life in high school when I was like hanging out with bad kids. I was in high school. I felt cool. I was hanging out with these 20-year-olds. Yeah, it was quite irresponsible since I didn't know what was in them. And I got really depressed after doing that, uh, doing ecstasy at that young an age when your brain isn't fully developed. I feel like it has made me permanently more depressed than I would have been otherwise, but I think I'm already quite a depressed person. So
Mm.
sorry, Aaron, that you have to deal with me.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
Aaron's so good.
thank you.
Welcome.
If I ever have kids, I would really encourage them not to do drugs as
Yes,
kids.
me too.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, you can go like smoke a little weed maybe, but anything that's a hard drug like ecstasy was, I absolutely do not recommend. I don't want my kids to do it. Like
Yeah.
was
Even
not good.
weed, even weed, I hear is really bad these days. I think I saw a clip of Andrew Huberman talk about like any marijuana can increase your chances of psychosis as an adult, even like a little bit,
Wow, that's
which
scary. I
I'm
trust
on that.
Andrew Huberman.
He's a very trusting energy.
We love
Yeah.
Andrew Huberman.
Oh, wait. Oh, I can do it. Here, I'll do it for you.
Would